Okay, so thanks everyone for joining. So I'll just start sharing screen. So yeah, really wanted to sink my teeth into AI, and I thought what better way to do it than actually do it together. So just open this up as something that I don't really have any plan for how it's going to go. I have a rough idea about how it's going to go, but nothing concrete. So just going to go with the flow and see how it goes month by month. So it's something that I'd like to do once a month. And we'll just develop it as it goes. So in the same way that we do the blogging once a month, now I want to start to really artificial intelligence once a month. So more people are joining now as well, which is good. Let's play together. So obviously it's a play on words, artificial intelligence. So I'll get straight into it. And I'm just going to go around as we go through the presentation and just ask people to read. So if you don't want to read, then just let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to be going from top to bottom. So the first person, we want to just go through what is artificial intelligence. So I want to just go through what it is, just a brief history, and then why I think it's important that we actually do this. So first of all, Robin, you want to read this first sentence?
The technique of programming a computer to respond to data in the same way an intelligent being does.
Okay, Caroline.
Programming in this case is training a model rather than using code to create a program.
Yeah, that's one of the key distinctions of artificial intelligence. So normally you program something, you basically code something to give you an output, but now you're actually training something to give you an output. So this is the key distinction between artificial intelligence and typical programming. So that's something that's really important. And then the last line here, David.
Therefore, computers that can learn, aka machine learning, is the epitome of where AI is headed.
That's it. All right. Thank you, David. So now just a bit of a history of artificial intelligence, which I found quite interesting. So Alan Turing came up with a Turing test in 1950. So he's basically considered to be like the father of artificial intelligence. So he basically posed the question, can computers think? So he had a little test, and the test is very simple. So basically getting a judge, a human, and the computer, and he gives them a series of questions, and depending on their response, whether or not you can tell the difference between what the human is saying and what the machine is saying. And if the machine and the human are indistinguishable, then this computer, quote unquote, passes the test. So it evaluates how well a computer and a machine can mimic human conversation and thought. There's also a really good movie called The Imitation Game. If you haven't seen it, I strongly recommend watching it. It's a really, really good movie. So it goes over his life, and really he was really fascinating character, and he was used, well, quote unquote, used in World War II. So his brain, his mathematics helped break the Enigma code, which was like the secret language that the Germans used to communicate with each other. So it helped the Allied forces stay one step ahead in World War II, and really was pivotal in helping us win World War II. And then in 1954, the human brain is basically a series of neural connections. So it's a complicated network of connections in the mind. And so there was a psychologist who tried to create this in a computer form, and it was called the perceptron. So this was in 1954. So this was the first computer brain. But the issue with this was it only really had one layer of neurons. So you can see there how big it is and how many wires, but it's only one layer of neurons. So it's actually very limited. So for example, just to move your finger, there's such a complex layer of different kinds of neurons that fire to actually make that happen. So just to move your finger, it starts in your motor cortex, which sends through your spinal cord, and then it goes into the muscles, which each have their own neurons, and it's this complicated network of neurons and different layers just to move your finger. So really, the human mind is the brain is a very intricate and beautiful thing. So this kind of was considered a bit of a failure because they couldn't really do all that much with it. So this was in 1954. And then in the 1960s, they had what was called the ELIZA chatbot. So this was the very first chatbot, very different to ChatGPT, which is what we have now. And it's something that engages in natural language conversations. And basically, it was programmed to be like a psychologist. So any questions you could ask it, it would basically respond to you in the way that a psychologist would. And so it was very basic, and it was only programmed with these responses. So at this point in time, it wasn't something that was actually learning. It was something that was actually programmed. Then IBM developed Deep Blue in 1997. So this was after really an AI winter. So there wasn't really a lot of progress happening. Computational power wasn't all that good, and the algorithms weren't that powerful. So there was really a kind of stagnation in artificial intelligence. And Deep Blue was basically programmed to play chess. So they ran a whole bunch of algorithms into it so that it could play chess. And it basically dominated the world's best chess player, who was Garry Kasparov, and really beat him convincingly. And then Google. So machine learning advancements. So now we're going into the 2000s. So this is when, with the internet, we started to have huge data sets. So there was also lots of advancements in algorithms, which drove AI to new heights. So because of all these data sets from people that are inputting into the search engines, now Google can start to learn. So really, Google's PageRank really revolutionized search engines. So it really made it a dominant force in the tech industry, and it still is a dominant force to this day. So prior to this, again, everything was just coded to generate generic responses, but now things are starting to get quote unquote intelligence with the data sets. Then there was AlphaGo. So this is actually something, this is deep learning now. And so this is in the 2010s, and this is another really good movie. If you haven't seen it, it's actually free on YouTube. And Go is much more complicated than chess. So Go, there's like an infinite amount of maneuvers. I don't know if it's actually infinite, but there's like millions and billions of times more ways that the game can change compared to chess. So it was much more complicated. It has many more variations and many more layers to it. The difference between this, AlphaGo, and Deep Blue was it actually started to learn how to play. So as it was playing, it was learning on the fly. So this also, if you haven't seen it, I think everybody knows that it beat it, but it only lost 1 out of 5 games to the world's best chess Go player, who was a Korean. So it must be very big in Korea. Those Koreans really get involved with all this sort of stuff. And then things like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, it's really starting to become prevalent in our society now. The AI is starting to become everywhere. Now there's this. Who's seen these before? I'm sure everybody's seen these captures, they're called. So what these actually are, when you do these on Google, for example, you're actually training the AI. So you're training Google's self-drive artificial intelligence. So as you are there picking the traffic lights, you're helping the algorithm learn what traffic lights are. So we're actually training the artificial intelligence. So machines are learning rather than being coded to know. So this is actually really quite fascinating. And again, it's now in your everyday. So in the palm of your hand, in your phone, it's run by all artificial intelligence applications. Everything's just super smart, super fast. So in this image, for example, it's something that I took on my phone. Can you, don't know if you can spot the difference between the left and the right. So if you can't, basically there's these 2 cones here. So you take a picture, and on the Google Pixel, you can, it's called like I don't remember what the feature's called, but it's like Smart Touch Up. So all I have to do is press this button, go into the phone, press edit, press this button, and then circle what I want to delete, and it will delete that, and it will make it seamless. So it's like it's never been there in the image. So we're starting to get everyday integration, and doing something like this on, for example, Photoshop might take you like, it might take you a bit of time. You got to load the program up. You got to use all these different tools. You have to understand how to actually use Photoshop. It might take you hours. Whereas this literally took like 5 seconds, less than 5 seconds just to do this. So it's really come a long way. So it's in everything now, mobile phones, apps, computers, search engines. So when you're looking for things on, for example, Netflix, it's learning what you want to watch. So it's an artificial intelligence algorithm. It's learning what you want to watch, and it keeps delivering you what you want. All the social media platforms do exactly the same. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, they all do exactly the same. They learn what you want and they deliver you what you want. And then now in 2022, ChatGPT. So this is a large language model. So GPT stands for Generative Pre-trainer Transformer. So this really exploded onto the scene. This actually was the fastest growing application on the planet. So it reached over 1 million users in just 5 days. So it really went viral and everybody started hearing about ChatGPT. And basically, this again is the epitome of where it is at the moment. So they used a huge pool of data to train this large language model, which we can now have communications with. And one of the most fascinating and beautiful things, in my opinion, is no one actually knows how it learns. So they just feed it data, but they don't actually know how it learns. So this is why there's a lot of fear around where artificial can head to, what it can kind of do. You get these doom and gloomers talking about Terminator, what's it going to do? But I think that this is a really fascinating thing. And one of the leading experts from Google has really started coming out recently within the last few months and saying we've really got to slow this down. Elon Musk is also really against the speed at which these things are developing. But these same people are also saying, because it's what you're putting into the data, like what it's learning, if there's just a small percentage of like truth that goes into this data, then because I don't really know how it learns, the hope is that it will learn from that. So for example, people with a true mind will input what their thoughts are from the universe perspective, and it will learn from that perspective rather than from the human mind perspective. That's why for me, it's quote unquote my little theory that I have absolutely no concern about it. I'll let whoever is a lot smarter than me figure that out, but I'm not worried about it whatsoever. So now you have all these different tools. So this is where I wanted to come together. So there's an explosion of artificial intelligence tools. So this particular website here, Future AI Labs, it aggregates like thousands of these AI-based tools. So there's new ones that are being released every single day. It's just an explosion. So very simple things like image generation and anything that you think you can now, you're not limited by your capacity as an artist. You don't need to spend a lifetime being a painter to actually convey something in your mind. You can have an image in your mind and you can type it into the prompt and it will produce the image. It will take a bit of process of back and forth, but when I look at that from that perspective, I'm like, oh, wow, what are the things that we can express about universe mind and how to help people with meditation when you can really start to show imagery that really can put people into that space a lot better. So I'm really excited about all of these things. So I'm just going to play like a little short video here, just like the first minute of it, just to give you like an idea about what this is all about.
There are already literally thousands of AI tools customized to endless use cases. ChatGPT barely scratches the surface. I've been doing a massive deep dive testing out hundreds of them, and I want to highlight the most powerful, the craziest, and the most useful. I want to start with a few that are just mind-blowing. Some are in the early stages, but they give you a glimpse of what's to come. So I'll cover those quickly just for fun, then I'll dive into the really useful ones. NVIDIA. They have a few amazing AI products. One that's really fun to mess around with is Canvas. You just paint basic shapes and lines and choose from their palette of materials and create photorealistic landscapes. There's all sorts of presets to change the look of the image, and you can create all the way up to 360-degree panoramas. They also offer NVIDIA Broadcast, which is great for audio and video. It can remove background noise and echoes, replace backgrounds, auto frame, remove noise. Those are all great, but it also has this feature I haven't seen anywhere else for eye contact. You can be looking off camera at a script or teleprompter, and it will edit the eyes as if you were looking directly at the camera the entire time. No, I'm not using it. They also have Omniverse, which is a suite of tools for 3D artists with real-time collaboration. Really, NVIDIA is just killing it. Versi is... There are all...
Okay, so I just wanted to show that little first section because I thought the painter thing was phenomenal for a start. Again, anything that you can imagine in your mind, you don't have to be limited by what your abilities are because the computer can do it now. The artificial intelligence is like an extension of our mind. And I also really like the eye thing as well. I know there was one video that I did for Oceana where I had to set up this complicated little setup between my laptop and a second laptop so I could read what I needed to say without actually looking like I was reading it. So if there was something like this where I can actually read it without having to worry about where my eyes are going, I think that's pretty amazing. So, okay. So why artificial intelligence? So now, again, I'm just going to go around and ask people. So I only see names here. Sorry. So yes, Europe Meditation. So that was Alex. So can you read these next few lines, Alex?
Yeah, sure. So why artificial intelligence? Become aligned with the digital age. Not to get left behind in the digital world. Time doesn't wait, so we have to move fast with the times.
Thank you, Alex. Joanna, do you want to read this next couple of lines?
All right. Learning, growing, changing. If you want to do something, you actually have to do it, not just say you're going to do it. So let's practice together. If you don't use your brain, you'll get dementia. So keep studying, keep learning, keep growing and connecting with the world.
Thank you. And then Roberto?
Yeah, I try. Acceptance is the mind of love. Leverage the power of AI. Let's smarter people worry about the problems.
Thank you. Okay, so now just one of the passage from Teacher Myung's books. So the next one, Michael, do you want to read the title and this first chunk?
Sure. Why artificial intelligence? As computers are enhanced with artificial intelligence, people should be enhanced with true wisdom. Just as computers in this 21st century are enhanced with artificial intelligence, AI, people should enhance themselves with true wisdom. In Go matches between computers programmed with AI and professional human players, the Go pros lost to the computers equipped with AI. This 21st century is the era for people to have true wisdom so that they can know everything. People should become saints and sages.
To solve and give the method to solve the questions of YouTube, people must become free from their fixed notions, habits, and customs and see things from the perspective of the universe, which is truth. Everything will be solved.
When one throws away one's false body and mind and finds one's true self, one will become a complete person. All matters concerning religions, philosophy, ideology, academics, and life will then be resolved.
This true wisdom is what people living in the 21st century must obtain. A person with true wisdom can solve by oneself all of mankind's unresolved questions and doubts, as well as one's personal unresolved questions and doubts.
Lovely, thank you. So obviously that's from Woo Myung's How to Have a Meeting with God, Buddha and Allah. Okay, cool. So let's actually give things a go.